everybody, this is D Hunter bringing another action figure vehicle review. Today we're going to be looking at the Mattel Wrestling WWE Wrekkin Slammobile. This is the blue variation. This blue variation is an Amazon exclusive. It never even occurred to me they might make some different repaint variations of the Wrekkin Slammobile. After having the red one for a couple years now, I am very pleased with it. For a wrecking vehicle that comes apart, it is very sturdy and stays together pretty well. And the best thing is, it can accommodate any of my smaller 6-inch figures and any of my larger 7-inch scale figures. I got this thing not necessarily to use as a wrestling car, but to use as a regular civilian vehicle in the background. So let's go ahead and check out the packaging here. As you can see, it's got the wrestling logo. It also has the Rock inside of here, the Rock Wrekkin Slammobile. And you can see all the pieces that come apart there. The front here, it almost looks like Rock versus the car. And you know what? My money's on the Rock. The top here, you can see some more of the window packaging, the figure, and the vehicle. The front, you can see Rock with the car. Other side, pretty similar. At the bottom, there's instructions, everything come apart, then the car completed, and there is a barcode in case that helps anybody, but this is an Amazon exclusive. You won't find this in stores. And on the back side, you can see a bunch of different wrestlers in the car tearing it up and fighting each other. So with no further ado, let's open it up. And I did end up getting 2 of these cars. Why, you ask? Because you can never have too many cars in your action figure world. I got this thing for my overall 1/12 scale action figure world, and I think it's going to be a great addition. Alright, now that we got this vehicle out of the package, here it is with all of its accessories laid out. It doesn't come with any traditional accessories, but I would consider the basic Rock figure that comes with this to be an accessory to the vehicle. The main reason I got this thing is because of the vehicle. The Rock figure, he's not bad, but I would have got this vehicle even if it didn't come with the Rock. This is the blue version, the Amazon.com exclusive. Originally, they released a red version, I don't know, about 2 years ago. And I never even thought of the idea of them making a bunch of different versions, repainted. Very happy they're doing this. So first of all, here's the Rock figure. It's one of the basic $9.99 figures, about $10 retail. Less articulation, but detail's not bad. Face sculpt smiling. Tattoos look excellent, clean and crisp. He's in that sort of black tank top with a white trimming. He's got black pants with a white stripe. I definitely have a version like this already. Going to compare them later in the video. But let's get to the actual goodie here. The car. So I got this car not just to be used as a wrestling Wrekkin Slammobile, but pretty much to use as a regular car in my overall action figure world. My action figure collection is predominantly 6 and 7-inch scale, and this car will accommodate either one. This will enhance my overall 1/12 action figure world. So let's check it out. It's a convertible. It's got no top. It's got 2 seats inside of here. A ton of breakaway features, and we will look at that shortly. The doors do open. The wheels do turn. It does have this wrestling logo on the hood, which is a little bit annoying. The old one had this, but it wasn't painted or didn't have these stickers on it. So a little bit less obvious. If I want to use this as a regular, generic, all-purpose car, that's going to be a little bit of an interference. Rear view mirrors. It's got some stickers for brake lights. License plate back here. The bottom of the car. It's got some detail on it. It's not just plain. They could have easily made it just flat because you don't see the bottom too much. Lot of clearance under the hood. Very nice. And here are both the cars out of the package with the Rock figure in the background. And then here's the car broken down as far as it can go, with all of its removable parts detached. It actually has 11 different removable pieces. In this video, we're going to take a look at the car in depth. We're going to look at all the different action features. We're going to check out all the different action figure lines from different various companies that will fit in the car. And then we'll check out the car compared with some other 1/12 scale vehicles. Hope you enjoy. Let's start off by looking at the Rock figure. This is a Mattel Wrestling Basic figure. That means it has basic articulation, a little bit less than the Elite figures, but they're still a great bang for your buck. This one here is a lot of reuse from previous Rock figures. The head looks pretty good. It's smiling. Definitely been used before. Like I said before, the tattoos look very good considering his basic figure. He's got his tank top, sort of windbreaker looking pants, black shoes with white trimming as well. Nothing too spectacular about this guy, but it's nice to have a figure to go with the car. The rock here doesn't come with any accessories, but let's check out his height. From bottom to top, he's sitting at about 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to a little bit over 18 centimeters. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. He can look up and down about that far. Can't really tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes up about 90 degrees, a little bit more, up, down, around, all that good stuff. No bicep cut. Single jointed elbow goes in about this far. His wrist, it can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Solid torso, no articulation here. Traditional waist swivel. He's got these T-crotch legs. They only go forward and back. Single jointed knees. Go back just a little bit there. Then his ankles. They really can't go up and down at all. They can only rotate. So pretty basic articulation for this guy. And he's 100% identical. A straight up re-release of the WWE Basic Series 107 Rock. A little disappointed in that. I figured they could at least do something to switch it up. Switch out a head or a hand. Slight paint variation. Something to differentiate these two Rock figures. There are tons of different heads they could have used. Just annoying that it's 100% the same release from a couple years ago. In addition to the basic Rock figure and the figure from this car, I actually have two of these figures. I got two of these cars, so I now have three of these identical basic Rock figures, and that is pretty annoying. One of them, sure, I'm happy to have. The second one with the car, okay, I get it. But to have three of these guys that are completely identical, it's just kind of annoying. I'm going to have to go flip them on eBay and probably make pretty much nothing out of these guys. And that's fine. I just need to thin my collection a little bit. Do not need three of these guys. And you can't really head swap them, as that tattoo is so unique to the Rock. And here are all the different Rock figures that I have. I would say this Elite version is my favorite of them. Now let's get back to the car. We'll start off by looking at all the different action features, removable parts, or accessories this thing has. We'll start off with the front of this car, where part of the fender can come off. So I'm going to take this thing, pull it off. It'll come out pretty nicely. As you can see, it fits in little pegs. It'll fit into the holes here. The first breakaway piece. And the next breakaway piece will be the hood here. First of all, you can take a wrestling figure, have them slam their fist into it, and it'll bounce back up, destroying the front of the car. But that's not it. These parts actually will come off as well. And what you get inside, you get kind of an engine here. Kind of cool, a lot of sculpting detail. They definitely could have just left that blank and cheaped out, but it looks pretty cool, pretty nice, well done, especially for a basic wrestling vehicle. Now we got the breakaway windshield. This windshield here, it can come out as one piece, and then these two pieces here will break apart as well. Now let's look at the interior of the car. I noticed there's a little fire extinguisher in the middle of the seats here. There are three pieces that come out of the inside of the car. First of all, you've got the steering wheel here. This thing can pop out. Then you have these two seats. They're mounted in there. They come out pretty easily, but they don't fall out. You can see how they connect at the bottom there. And there are still some removable parts. So not only are the doors hinged, able to open and shut, but they do come off as well. You can see it'll attach on a little clamp on the side here. And there is one last removable piece. That's the trunk here. Not only can it be removed, but it actually functions. The trunk can open. You've got some clearance. You can store all kind of stuff in there. I don't think it's big enough to actually put a figure in there. But if you wanted to take the trunk off, it attaches similar to the doors here. So 11 different pieces that come off. Here's the car, stripped down. Looks like it's been through the chop shop. Then here's the car, fully put back together. Now I mentioned being able to fit stuff into the trunk. Here's Ric Flair with a couple duffel bags full of cash. pop open the trunk, take one of the bags out, put it in there. Fits in no problem. Looks like you should be able to get both of them in there. Might require a little moving around to get this to work. Get them in there. And you gotta watch the clearance. Where the clamp is, stuff kind of gets in the way. So, not able to get it quite shut. After doing just a little moving around, able to position the duffel bags in there, shut the trunk with complete clearance and ease. I love being able to transport stuff in action figure vehicles. Here's Kane with a couple of gym bags. Take one off his shoulder, pop the trunk, put it in there, no problem. And then pretty much the same thing with Triple H. He's got a couple of gym bags. Go ahead and pop the trunk, take one of the bags off. These are some cloth bags from Mezco. These should fit in very easily. Pop it in, pop the trunk, voila. Now I was curious about possibly putting a trash can in the trunk or something like that. Pop the trunk up. Depending on what size trash can you have, it may or may not work. First trash can here. Kind of reposition it, you can get it in there. And this next trash can, this one's a little bit longer. Doesn't seem like that one's going to get to work. And there's no way you're going to get a figure to fit in this trunk. Even some of the female elite wrestling figures that are pretty articulated and have pretty thin limbs. I tried and tried, cannot get her in there, so you're not going to be able to free your damsel in distress. You won't be able to fit a kid or teenage figure in there either. It might hold a baby though. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the vehicle, its action features, and removal parts, now let's check out the measurements of this thing. So as far as how long it is, it's sitting at about 13 inches long. As far as how tall it is, about 3.2 inches to the top of the door, and about 4.5 to the top of the windshield. And if you wanted to know how wide it is across, it's going to be sitting at about 6.5 inches wide. Here's The Rock driving this car down the city street. And a little bit of a closer look. Rock sitting in there. You've got complete clearance to get him in and out of the car. You don't have to open the doors. Slides in there. Plenty of room. Ton of wiggle room in there, so you can fit some very large figures in this. Here he is, driving by the arcade. Then, stopping by the liquor store on his way home. And here he is, on his way home after many, many stops for the day. Here's a few different wrestling figures, driving both the first and second version of this Breakaway car. Now let's check out a wide variety of action figures, see how they look and scale up next to the car, and see which lines will fit inside the car. Pretty much anything from your taller 7-inch figures to your smaller 6-inch figures should fit in this, no problem. We're going to start off with some wrestling figures, and after we check that out, we're going to compare this car with some other 1/12 scale vehicles. We already know that this is intended for the basic wrestling figures, so here are 4 other basic wrestling figures in front of it. I'm going to try to fit the biggest figures in the comparisons into the vehicle. Any of your Mattel basic wrestling figures will fit in this thing, complete ease. And here it is, next to some Mattel wrestling elite figures. These guys are typically just a little bigger than the basic figures. Here they are, sitting in the car. Now let's check it out, next to some Mattel female wrestling figures, both some basic and some elite. Here are the female wrestling figures in the car. Here are some older Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. These guys are even bigger than the Mattel figures, but I bet they fit in the car as well. Here are the Jakks figures in the car. Now, let's look at some newer Jazzwares AEW wrestling figures next to this car. And here are the AEW figures in the car. Now let's check this car out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how it fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix them with. Since this is a wrestling accessory vehicle, they're typically the larger end of collecting, almost 7-inch scale, not quite. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller. Here it is next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. And here are the Diamond Select figures in the car. Then, next to some McFarlane toys. And the McFarlane figures fit in the car just fine. Their Color Topps Walking Dead stuff don't have articulated legs, so they won't get in there. Here's some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures in front of the car. And here they are, inside the car. Then, here's some NECA figures in front of the car. And then the NECA figures sitting inside the car. And here are some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods figures in front of this car. And then the Mezco figures inside the car. Then some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures in front of the car. And the same figures inside the car. We've got Alfred chauffeuring Bruce Wayne. And here are some Mafex figures standing in front of the car. And then the Mafex figures in the car. Then here are some Hasbro Marvel Legends figures in front of the car. And the Marvel Legends inside the car. And here are some SH Figure Arts action figures in front of the vehicle. And here are the SH Figure Arts figures in the car. And finally, here are some Jazzwares Fortnite figures in front of the car. These are about the smallest figures that I collect. And of course, they also fit in the vehicle just fine. Now let's check this car out next to some other 1/12 scale action figure vehicles. Here are both of the blue versions of the car that I have. And here are both of my blue cars next to both of the red cars that I have. These things are 100% identical except for the different paint job. Very nice to have a bunch of different cars for my action figure collection. Here it is, next to some Mattel Wrestling Wrekkin Slambulance vehicles. These things are huge and can accommodate a wide variety of action figure scenarios. And I had a buddy of mine repaint a couple of the Slambulances into a couple of GCPD SWAT vehicles for my police action figure collection. And here are a couple of Mattel Wrestling motorcycles. These are also part of the Slam Wrekkin line. I got this cheap knockoff wrestling ambulance on Amazon. This thing absolutely sucks. Do not get tricked like I did into buying this thing. Looks like it'd be big and cool, but it's big and awful. Here are a couple of New Bright radio-controlled 1/12 scale cars. I got these things at Target. They were pretty cheap, about 25 bucks each. They don't open up or accommodate figures, but they make for some pretty good background pieces. Then, next to another remote control car, I got this thing on eBay. It does have seats you could potentially put a figure into, but there's no leg room. It also makes for a pretty nice background piece. Here are a couple of Ninja Turtle Cowabunga Carl Party Wagons. These things are huge and could accommodate pretty much any action figure line. Here's an ET van next to this car. Not exactly a 1/12 scale vehicle, but it is kind of roomy. This was a Toys R Us exclusive way back in the day. I patiently waited and finally found one on eBay. It's a great background vehicle. Here's a recently released Basic Toys Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine. This is not exactly 1/12 scale, but it will accommodate pretty much any of those figures. Then, next to a couple of McFarlane Quad Crashers from Fortnite. And while these are also not 1/12 scale vehicles, they're intended for a little bit smaller 5-inch figures. On the left, we have a Playmates Dick Tracy Gangster vehicle, and on the right, a Kenner The Shadow vehicle. Although these are too small for my figures, there are also some pretty good background vehicles. Overall, this is a very cool vehicle. It does look a little bit basic and toyetic, but it's still very nice. I mean, how often do you get a 1/12 scale vehicle, or even a little bit larger like this thing, that can accommodate pretty much any of your action figures? They can actually fit inside, the doors open, the trunk functions, etc. The best thing about this thing, it can accommodate the smallest action figures I collect, like Jazzwares Fortnite or Hasbro Marvel Legends, and it can accommodate the largest things I collect, like Diamond Select Toys, DC Direct, and McFarlane. There are not a lot of vehicles that can accommodate 7-inch figures with ease. I looked back at my old video for the red one, and I rated the car a 7 out of 10. Yes, it does have some flaws, but you know what? I've had this car for a couple years now, and the blue one here is great as well. I'm going to bump the rating up to an 8 out of 10. I've gotten a ton of mileage out of this thing, and I'm very pleased to have it. This is a great addition to my overall action figure collection, action figure world building at its finest. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure vehicle and action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.